When I signed up for this, I did not plan on breaking my arm. I was going to come out in a really cool, chic outfit and high heels and have the hair done and the makeup on. Guess what, folks? With one hand, you can't even put on earrings, okay? So, little problematic there, little struggles, have a few struggles. So, what do you struggle with? Do you struggle with motivation? Do you have a hard time with limiting your own negative self-talk? Do you know what you want, but you can't make yourself go get it, right? Okay, so this is a pitch from Mel Robbins' books, one of her books, right? Now, we love Mel Robbins. She's a TED Talk person, right? And she gets to wear cool outfits and has great hair. So she wrote this book called The 5-Second Rule. And it is not about that pizza that you dropped on the floor and is it safe to eat? Now, I like self-help once in a while, right? And the fastest way to change your life, okay, that hooked me. I download it and I'm starting to read it and I'm swiping and reading and swiping and reading and wanted to get every little morsel. And it's basically this. Mel was having a little issues with her house and her finances, and she couldn't make herself get out of bed. She could not make herself get out of bed until she developed this 5-second rule. She told herself, I am going to get out of bed 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boing. I'm out of bed. That's the basis of this book. And she wrote a whole long book and does talks and does webisodes and all that stuff, right? She does extrapolate. Now, you can use this for other things, like let's say you want to lose weight. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, push away from the table. You want to stop gossiping. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, shut your mouth. Start exercising. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're going to jump on that treadmill. Okay, I thought, I was being very flippant. Can I come up with something, a one-liner axiom like Mel, and make a whole talk out of it, right? And so I used the very first thing I thought of, and that was walk out the dang door. I mean, hers was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So walk out the dang door, and can that be my talk? Well, I started thinking about an instance where I had this job, and I was a manager of people, and I had a guy that was working for me. And about once a month, he would explode. And he would yell at me for like 10 minutes. And he would yell at me in front of other people. And he would yell at me in front of this new hire that I had, giving them a tour. And I actually kind of felt embarrassed for him, right? So he's yelling at me, and I try to do the, oh, I'm sorry, you misunderstood. That's not what I meant. Words, words, words. Sorry, I don't have all my hands. Words, words, words. And that went nowhere, right? Trying to explain, he took it wrong. The last time he exploded, he had come into my office, he said something, I said something, and then he was off and running. But I did something different this time. I picked up my little handbag and I walked out that door. I walked out that dang door and I didn't say a word. I did tell the secretary I was going home and working from there. And so then, I did go do something fun. Now I'm at home and I'm thinking, oh no, now I'm going to have to write this message and put it on his desk and oh, I'm so sorry, you misunderstood me. That's not what I meant. You know what? Mel was exactly right. It can be as simple as that, as walk out the door. He came into my office the next day and he apologized. He apologized to me. I was blown away because this made me feel so powerful, so empowered, really. It's kind of Gandhi-esque because it's doing nothing worked. Everything else did not work. Walking out the door worked. So, okay, now I'm on a roll here with my talk, and I thought, okay, so what about something else that happened to me? When I was in my early 30s, I lived in New York City. I lived on 72nd Street and Broadway. Very nice, lovely high-rise. And I was 2 blocks from Central Park. I used to go jogging in Central Park. And a girlfriend came to visit me from Houston, and we went to go see Othello. And this was the Orson Welles film. I even still remember the film, right? And I'm walking home, and we walk into my building, and the concierge says, "I cannot let you upstairs." Oh, what's going on here? Then he says it again. "I cannot let you up," and he points to my bags. My bags were actually packed there next to him. So not only was I being helped out this door, I was being kicked out this door. Kicked out this door and kicked out of an unhealthy relationship. So that's the other part of it, right? So my girlfriend and I, we grabbed those bags and we headed up Broadway, and I went to a friend of mine's house. It was kind of small, and so we couldn't stay there long. So we did the next normal, rational thing. We bought one-way tickets to Paris. You could do that back then. And the New York Times, they would have these tickets on sale for flights that weren't full. And you could buy cheap tickets if you could fly right away, right? So we flew on Air Pakistani to Paris. And when we landed, we're now in the airport and not knowing what we're going to do, right? We didn't have a plan. And so there was a bomb scare in the airport right when we landed, and the adventure was off and running. We ended up living in Marbella, Spain, which is on the Costa del Sol, very beautiful place. And we ended up living there like for a year. Overstayed our visa. Again, you could do that back then. It was before 9/11. Fate brought us this German woman that owned this pension that she just bought. And she needed help fixing it up. Well, here we were. And we were going to help her fix up her pension, which was on a golf course that overlooked the Mediterranean Sea, right? So we walked out that door and into something greater. I got a little job also for a painter, and he had a gallery, and I would go and work for him, and he liked it because I spoke English, and most of his buyers were English speaking. It was in the old town of Marbella, if you ever get to go. His shop was in Marbella, and we were 3 kilometers outside. I had to walk along this beach. Like, I wanted to pinch myself. This was what I traded New York City for. I'm walking along the Mediterranean, going to work for a painter. And I realized I could walk any place. I could walk about any place I needed to, and it's doable. It might take several days, but it's possible. All of us here could probably walk out of a situation. And then I started thinking about Katrina and what a mess that was, right? And all those poor people that were in the dome, and that didn't work out so well. But there were people, actually, that were down in the French Quarter, that were in the hotels, right? They were in hotels, and they were soon realized that ain't nobody coming to save you. Okay, nobody's coming, no lifeboats are coming, and it was overwhelming to the whole city. So they banded together. I heard this on the news. They banded together, and they walked out the door of the hotel, and they walked north. They just started walking north until they could get out, finally out of the city, finally out of the state. I know they had some issues. There were issues, I know, at a bridge. But the point is they eventually can get out of there, right? You can eventually get yourself to safety. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't include the opposite side of this, times when you shouldn't walk out the door. And so we live here in Montana where people like to hike. I like to hike. I did this hiking. So we like to hike, and we like to snowmobile, and we like to snowshoe and all this stuff out in the wilderness. And the thing is they tell you, though, if you get yourself in trouble in the wilderness, you're supposed to stay put. You're supposed to stay with your car, stay with your snowmobile, stay with your tent, stay with your camp, because that's how the rescuers can find you, right? So you're supposed to hunker down and stay put until they find you. Now, I personally would find that hard to do. There's this show on the weather station called SOS, and I love it, and it's about real-life scenarios about what you're supposed to do when you get yourself in trouble. Got a great narrator, and his name is Creek Stewart, like the water. Creek is really his first name, and he's a survivalist, and he's going to tell you what you should have done in these scenarios. Now, most of the people, when they get themselves stuck, they get themselves in trouble. They were just going to go for an hour. They were just going to test the snowmobile motor. They were just going to, it was never. So the problem is right, they weren't prepared. They don't have any gear with them. They don't have proper clothing. They don't have fire starters. They don't have food or water because they weren't going to be gone that long. They were only supposed to be gone for 30 minutes, right? So what Creek does is he tells you what you should do. Now, in the pilot show, it's about how this couple in this car, they were headed to the Oregon coast, and a family, and mom and dad and 2 kids, and they took a Forest Service road in the wintertime, and of course it's not cleared, and they got stuck in the snow. So the dad walks out that door to try to get help. Now, Creek, he says, okay, what you should do or could have done, and he always whips out this big knife. So I made my husband get me this big knife so I can carry it with me, because almost every solution requires this big knife. And he cut off the seatbelts and made snowshoes out of the floor mats. Brilliant, right? And the dad really could have used those because he was wearing tennis shoes. So little things like that are a big help. Now, the mom and kids did stay in the car. She ventured out at one time with the kiddos, but they didn't make it very far. So they came back to the car. And yes, she was rescued and the kids were rescued. So you see, you don't always walk out the door. That's not always the answer to the situation. If you're depressed, if you're lonely, if you're confused, if you don't know what to do next, if you're sad, walk out the dang door, because what will happen is stuff will happen. And like maybe you're headed to the coffee shop and instead you drive by a garage sale. So you stop, you pick up an interesting treasure, or you help somebody else load a treasure into their car. And now you're going to need some gas. So you go to the gas station and fill up. But there's a guy there with a violin playing for tips. He's got his case open for tips. So you go and you throw in a couple bucks. But then you see he's got a sign. And the sign says he's got 2 kids and they're hungry. So, now you go to the food pantry, you bring back some food. And all of these things happened because you walked out the door, right? You walked out the door. Mel's got another book out, right? Of course she does. And this one is called High Five Yourself, right? High Five Yourself. So my challenge to you is to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, walk out the door and high five yourself into your next adventure.